basically for everybody that doesn't win, right?
Yeah.
It's going to always, I think, cause even the most experienced players to not necessarily second guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's tough not to hesitate for a second on how much you really want to commit towards a new strategy that you're already having to implement last second.
Teams do start getting desperate once you get into that last match, even this one. Playstyles get changed up. All or nothing's come through in the late. Makes it that much more enjoyable to watch, though. I really want to see Pink and Sano make something happen here. They've tried so many height takes in the end game. They've done it without mats. They've done it with. They're just not able to fully close it out. But so far, in terms of early and mid game, they've been pretty consistently doing it well.
I mean, they're managing to make it into the end game, and typically for any other kind of tournament, that would be exactly what you're hoping for, but while things are a little bit quiet for Pink and Sado, kicking up right now for Artskill and Nassif. Great elimination there onto Xenix, but that is still a very tough sight for Rinzi. Now he's gonna have to try and play for that reboot ban option, and I think what's also interesting is that they were one of those teams that I think tried to kind of utilize a different strategy in this fourth lobby. They decided that they wanted to drop where Yarko and Kyurei were originally going, knowing that it was going to be up for grabs since they'd already confirmed their seat to the Major One Finals.
Get back. Seti and Rax after the successful off spawn against Wheat and Nefrisi, who were second place as well in game one. Since then, I wonder if they're gonna make a mix-up for the last match actually and go back to Wonky. Time will tell. As for now, Seti Rax are pretty comfortably situated in this fourth zone. I mean, Levin was saying at the start of the show, we've already got a finals without Queasy, without Merstash. Players like Tayson not making it through. I don't want to see Seti be the next one.
But the skill ceiling just continues to rise in the European region. And the faster you're able to adapt, or the faster you're able to figure out a way to overcome it on your own marks, that's going to be the real winning effort here today. But it really does prove that there is a whole new standard that has started to really build here in EU.
New rising talent, a lot of EU legends teaming up with them. We've seen it work, we've seen it not. But either way, it is a new era for EU competitive. As it looks away, I'd want to be going down here, rotating into zone. Oh!
The thing is, you take shots out of that far into zone, and there's always going to be somebody else looking. A lot of teams trying to play the Storm mentality here. And it's going to be a trade of revives now, that third party into interception. Best case scenario right now, but this is like poking the bear. It almost looks like now REX, CK, maybe they want to try and challenge this further, but no, too much attention has been drawn. Their spot is now hot. Everyone's starting to look in. That was also based a little bit further out. That's going to cause Wi-Fi Avery to just dive right in. They need this engagement. They need a little bit of damage, but Aryx instead
Wow.
overcome. Nice elimination here. And that's going to be a perfect setup now for this duo, despite those opening troubles.
Yeah, blessing in disguise. Omari getting knocked to now them coming out with 2 extra eliminations, almost 500 above. And a bit more loot. Almost couldn't even ask for more out of that outcome.
Yeah, great way to look back here for a moment. That was just nasty from Aryx, way quicker on the punch there. CK also doing an excellent job at holding the zone after the fact, but it's the ability to not just panic in those types of circumstances too. I think that's going to always be a crucial element for all of these duos, especially some of the up-and-comers.
Combeck was on the trio, I believe, when they were getting 3 second places with Shark and Blaha. Let's hope that they don't get a second place again here. Blaha Mixon aren't having the best of times either, but they are up. They are looking healthy. So hopefully this could be a match where they make something happen.
Ping and Vanya, though, managed to recover things to an extent. Still seeing what they can pick off in the lobby. Will unfortunately just take out Linux. Doesn't even get a chance to make it into zone. But now Ping, Vanya, they're gonna have to start to make their own moves. Just kind of keeping tabs on the surrounding area, though. With so many other teams, and some of them very likely desperate for surge damage themselves, they don't want to overexpose themselves.
Adil Vampy kind of trying to find their way into zone here too. You can see with the late rotate, it has pulled towards where Seti and Rax have been dropping. So all those teams around the north are having a tough getting into the zone. But for Doxy and Trip, they've done it almost perfectly.
It's one thing, though, to find yourself in a solid position. It's another thing to make sure that you convert it into a win here today. So for Prodoxy and Tripper, and they've still got a few battles left to try and take over here. Mix and Blaha, they're just gonna opt to stay secure in their current spot. A lot of congestion, definitely pulling zone here. That supply drop is at. No one really trying to risk it just yet, but good insight now for Vanya. They were playing the patient game, and it pulls out entirely in their favor here. Big shots onto XZ and Chris Buka. Beautiful 2 eliminations. Is definitely bound to set them up nicely for their surge.
That's exactly what you want leading into an end game. Full capped up on mats, refreshed up your heals. Let's hope now that they can play it through, as Pink and Seda once again have made it to the end game, but they're just right above that Storm Surge threshold. It seems to be a repeat of previous matches we've seen, so let's hope that they can change it up when it's time to go for that refresh.
It almost seemed like Ping was who I think Seda might have been trying to lock on to, but Seti, Rex, 224 above. Also managing to stay just a couple tiles up from ultimate low. And teams really all just kind of waiting for the best opportunity to move out. You don't want to be one of the teams that gets kind of stuck flying through the air when the lobby focus is raining through here, but Seti Rax might have some visitors that they don't want to hang around with. Pombek and Farhawa are trying to kind of force themselves into that location, but Seti knew better. Just going to send it forward. They want to stay near front side as much as they can.
Yeah, have his own pull right towards where their drop was. They get first pickings of these rotates, hopefully able to conserve a decent amount of mats, but the way it's looking is quite positive so far. Let's go see how Trippern's looking.
Great elimination. That's the firepower that they need to work with. And Trippern, a lot of people definitely taking notice of what he was doing throughout the process of the Last Chance qualifier heats. Even the opens, like I said, his heats directly, he was doing a pretty solid job. But Vanya and Ping still got their own tribulations to deal with here. Stadium Brickborn maybe getting a little over antsy for that frontside position. It's not gonna pay off just yet for Ping and Vanya to find another elimination, but Sato and Pink, they are in dire need right now, Takada, of some form of damage here. Anyone will do at this point. Only 63 above, 174, and the net search jumping favorably for them, but just tap back out. Moments before, Sato and Pink had managed to actually find a conversion for an elimination there. Look at the high ground right now that's starting to develop.
Good news for the rest of the lobby. We don't have as difficult as a zone from the last match. Bad news for high ground. Means there's gonna be a lot more healthy duos down below, hungry for that height. So we're gonna see the retakes come through. Podesai gonna get picked off as Nova is gonna try and push on forwards.
It was Pink and Sato on the other side of that. They were trying to be the ones to take out any eliminations here, but now Ping all by himself. This is not the sight you want to see for some of our more established players in this community, but Ping forced to drop all the way down to ultimate low. These last few pizza slices are gonna have to get the job done here as he starts to work his way up the elevation. It's only a matter of time though before he's forced into an engagement, especially when he's trying to take a low ground position here. But Sato, Pink, another elimination onto Adapted, and that is going to be a really nice conversion here for materials. But Pink just, he tries to layer swap. Caught in the clutches of Rax and Seti, who were just waiting in the mid ground, punishing that switch up. Ping still doing what he can though to work through ultimate low. The fact that he's even managed to claim as much space as he has is incredible, but he still needs the win and has a solo uphill battle for the rest of this lobby here. But Rax, Seti, signs of life. They're gonna start to drop now. They might be the ones to put off Ping along the way. Big shot's going to connect with Ping. He's still kicking, but he might just run immediately into the clutches of somebody else. But the siphon, the elimination, it's actually paid off in his favor for Doxy though, with the elimination onto Perhawa, and that might just be difference maker for the Danes. They're looking for the chop. Fred's gonna find it. Woza and Nova not gonna be able to hold it for much longer, but for Doxy, he loses Trippern. Trippern tried to get aggressive, and he's picked off instead from another team playing backside.
More and more solos coming through, but the big duo, I'm seeing one on low and Seti Rax. There's another up above with nobody contesting them so far. Seti, Rax, now is your chance. Make something happen.
They've already gotten 3 eliminations. What they need right now is material. At least when they're leading on front side of zone, they will have the opportunity to look back and try to take out any duos or solos. They're very limited in their fragging potential. For Doxy, on the other hand, he's trying to take things into his own hands, going up as a solo. Hallie gonna bring down Nova and temporarily take over height, but it's all a drop down. As the zone continues to pull forward, everybody else knows that they're gonna have to wait. Lusha, Hallie, all they need to do is avoid those game 1 grievances, and Hallie, Lusha, they're looking set on height. Woza gonna be collected in the underbelly of this lobby, but Julie, Miros, they might have a real chance at this. They've got 7 overdrive grenades to try and tackle height, but for right now, with no material counts to their name, they're gonna instead choose to play things a little bit more safe, backside of zone, just trying to break through and see if they can catch anybody off guard.
Looking like they can make it happen. A refresh is all they need. Howley Lucia now applying the pressure from above. They want to find that perfect moment to strike. There is a full duo down below, but now is the chance for them to win.
And this is perfect now for Lusha and Howley as long as they can stay together because Jewel, he's all by his lonesome. Howley, though, does lose Lusha, but at the same time, look at the siphon of materials in the sky falling straight into Howley's hands. But he needs to get every single one of these materials, a couple more pizza slices. El Wavy and Noms, though, while they might be out of materials, they're not out of fragging potential. 1 versus 2 now. They need to try and bring this one home, but Howley looking relatively healthy on height. He used his last form of heals, but he has to connect with every single one of these shots. El Wavy's gonna be the first one to send it. He's going for the immediate challenge. 2 separate angles, but Howley gets the first. Noms has fallen. Wavy has like no HP, and Howley's gonna do it. Howley and Lusha able to make up for that earlier transgression and find their way to the Major 1 Grand Finals.
They ended on 4th place to kick off the tournament today. Since then, it's been a downhill road, but now in the second to last match, Howley and Lusha confirm themselves a place in the major finals. Frankie, Levin, Mini, what do you have to say?
Howley and Lusha looked so confident in that end game, getting all of their timings absolutely spot on, Levin. And I have to say, I am so pleased to see that they've made it to the finals.
I don't get nervous, but I did get a bit nervous for a moment at the end there because when Lusha went down, I thought, no, not again. It can't be happening again. Howley must be fuming, but he delivers the goods, Mini. The 1v2 there, ice cold to isolate the 1v1s against those opponents, right? He knew that the game was in his control. A lot of players in that situation might start panicking, thinking, I'm in a 1v2, I gotta make something happen. He waited for them to come to him, and they played right into his hands.
Yeah, even earlier on in that end game as well, Howley was the one that actually set them up for that high ground take. I think it might have been right here. Was it on Nova? Yeah, it was. This was the shot. Look at that. That's huge. The drive-by was unreal, and that's what opened up the door there, Levin, for them to take height. I actually didn't see how Lusha actually went down. I hope it's not another one of those fall damage situations. Oh, it was! Oh, it was! Oh, no! I didn't see that. That's not great, but full credits to Howley here because this 1v2 was unreal. But Lusha, man, what are you
Win and you're in. Win and you're in, boys. It literally doesn't matter. He had Howley to clean things up for him. And what a clean 1v2 that was at the end. Just perfection from these two, showing that they truly deserve their spot with the Victory Royale win. It books them their spot in the grand finals next weekend, which means, guys, we literally is one and we're done, Levin. We've only got one more game to go. We'll be talking about who's likely to take it after the break.
Watch me These just like that. I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all. How bounce back? I just want it all. I just want it all.
There's just one more spot up for grabs in this weekend's Major One Grand Finals. Everything is to play for. There's nothing more for these teams to lose. And ultimately, we're going to have to say goodbye to a huge names in just a moment. But before we talk about the forthcoming disappointments and who's facing them, let's talk about that last game. Seti and Rax, I feel like we're starting to see the potential of this duo. All too late, obviously, but it was great to see them managing to make it to the end game mini-mine. It looked like they had a chance, but it feels like playing the low ground, playing the safe route is just not working for any duos today.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's been a lot of high ground wins, of course, as we expected. I thought maybe we were about to get our first low ground win there at the end, but ultimately playing these med kits wasn't going to work out. It was that zone pull, wasn't it, Levin? Just over that hill. We saw so many players trying to scramble in the storm. I think Fredoxy was one of them, just trying to find a way up that hill. Couldn't quite make it work there for them.
It's tough because, you know, again, they've looked great at moments throughout the day, but it's not enough to just look great, right? It's about piecing it together and finding the win condition, and they just can't seem to find the win condition in these end games. There is still one last chance for them to do it, though.
It feels like Vanya and Ping, they're taking more risks. The problem is they seem so uncoordinated in how they actually want to play those moments, Levin, that they're ending up in these solo clutch situations far too early in the end game.
And this is always the risk when you have a new duo. At the end of the day, new duos often either have an unreal honeymoon period where everything just flows and the chemistry is just at its peak, or you're disjointed, you're not both on the same page. And I feel like, unfortunately, the rhythm is just not there for these guys at the moment. It's going to take a big performance individually, I think, from one of them to really make something happen in this last game, Mini.
And it's weird when you say things like that, when you say that, you know, teams can have these like really wobbly periods when they're just first together. You don't necessarily associate that with teams and players of their caliber. When two players that have just done it all in Fortnite and done so much for themselves and each other, you would think that they would just naturally figure it out, but it's usually happens. It usually happens with big names like that, and it's just not happening for them right now. It would be a Vanya thing just to win the last game on high in the end here, but there are just so many names that we were talking about at the beginning of the day. It's like, yeah, these guys we expect to win. They're big names. They've done it before, and they're just not performing on this big stage. It's kind of strange.
It's interesting because we didn't necessarily expect Fredoxy and Trippin to actually take a victory royale tonight, even though they've got some form and history, but they haven't played together for a long time, for a year, in fact, Levin. It feels like, though, they're taking some risks that potentially could see them go all the way.
I think the inspiring thing about these guys is that they've been making it to end games with some consistency. They've been in positions where one refresh connecting the right way, Mini, could just turn your game around and give you a win, right? And so in this last game, if they can continue to do that, hopefully that can be enough to push them over the line. But a lot of these games, the refreshes just come like a zone or two too late when they're already split up and disjointed. They need to find things a tiny bit earlier.
Yeah, they're not able to set themselves up either. It's a very similar situation to Seti and Rax, so they're just not finding themselves in the positions to maybe look at height, to maybe have a stack situation to then go on to take the win. They're scrambling. They're trying to look for refreshes. They're trying to play Storm. They don't quite know what each other are doing in the different moments. So, yeah, they've got it all to do right now, but so have so many of our other big names that we expected to do well at the beginning.
So it's all about preparation for all of our duos right now, because I know I keep saying this, but if you don't get to the grand finals, you haven't got a hope of being one of the 20 duos who are going to be going to Dusseldorf in May. There are so many names who could be missing out here. Seti, Vidil, Vanya, Ping, Pink, Blacker, Convex, Fredoxy, Mixon, Podosai. The list is endless. The heartbreak will be too if any of these names miss out, not just for the players themselves, but for the fans. Because don't forget, after Major One Summit, That's when FNCS 2 happens. That's potentially going to be a break of 2 months at least for FNCS for some of these players, Mini Miner.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. You know, there's always a little bit of a weird period when you do have a longer break where teams are switching up. You know, you got players that are trying to rekindle some of that success, trying to pick up new talent. It's going to be interesting to how that goes. But for now, these teams just want to make their way into the major finals, and there's guaranteed to be an upset when you look at the names.
Leven, who do you think is not getting upset? Who do you think could potentially manage to clutch this one in the last game?
That's a tough one, Frankie. It's tough. There's still so many names. I think at the end of the day, you know, a wise man once said this game's about moments. And there's no bigger moment than now. You have to do it for your fans, for your friends, for your teammate. Do it for the plot. It's time. Their time is up. Your time has to be now. Let's do it.
Players, are you ready?
I think that man's name, it might start with a Lev and end with an N here, Takada, but the truth has been spoken. There are so many prominent names when you just look at the list of players still competing in today's Last Chance Qualifier Finals, and knowing that only 2 of them are going to be able to confirm themselves potentially for that Major 1 Grand Finals, it's just absurd to think about.
It's scary. Pink Sato are the ones that I was looking at last game. I really thought they had it. They got the refreshes they couldn't in the previous matches. They were set up perfectly to finish that end game off, but ended up getting dropped, getting full eliminated with a good amount of mats loot, everything they needed. So I'm hoping all of these duos can make those last minute changes and qualify themselves. The issue is there's only one duo, there's only one slot to make that happen.
And it's still even crazier to think about it. It might not even be one of the duos that so many people would originally anticipate. But we'll find out right here, right now, because our last game, number 5, is ready to go.
It really does come down to this. Will there be any last minute switch ups on the drops, on the play styles? Will it be more aggressive? Is everyone just gonna do what they can to make that end game, even if it means taking less risks? As we kick it off with Nefrizi and Wheat in Humble Hills.
Pieces are being erased right now. Seti taken out. All of the hopes now hinging upon Raxen being able to turn around this off-spawn contention here. They've been getting the better end of it for the last few lobbies, but this is the one that matters to close out because it is the final chance that either of these teams will have to try and see themselves on that battle bus for the Major 1 Grand Finals. Rax, moderate HP advantage, but he's still dancing around the buildings here of Humble Hills, and he's brought down. Wheat and Nefrizi have just doused the light from Seti and Rax. You will not be seeing Seti in the Major 1 Grand Finals. You will not be seeing him have a chance for the Major 1 Summit. It is insanity to think about watching these pieces of history crumble.
New era for EU competitive Fortnite as Seti joins the pack. Vanya now trying to hold on. Doesn't want to be the next one that joins the legends that didn't qualify. As at Latte landing, this battle has been happening from the start.
And we've been seeing such stacked end games throughout the entirety of the 4 lobbies that have already taken place here today, Takada. But this might just be crash out central for all of our competitors still remaining. CK and RDX have managed to take over Latte landing. Vanya and Ping, they just want to see another zone. They want to make it towards the end game and have their real opportunity at making sure that they don't miss out on that battle bus for the finals.
Blaha Mixon quite split up here. They started off pretty strong, but they just have not been able to do enough. I mean, this is one of the duos that at the start you said, Taco, kind of predicted somehow that you'd like to see them play together. And now, you know, your dream has come true. The issue is they haven't made it through yet. And if Blaha gets keyed here without Mixon's help, it could be difficult.
It's a great job, though, from Mixon, kind of pivot a little bit of attention there, though, from Blaha, who's originally just getting keyed, like you said, 2 versus 1, but now Mixon, those shots have given him the opportunity to try and reunite. He's gonna have to take over the supportive measures here pretty heavily, though. Blaha is incredibly low. Chaos just looming overhead. This is a very, very scary sight right now for Blaha and Mixon. Just largely knowing that even if they manage to come out on top in this exchange, they've already taken so much damage in return. That net surge can't be panning out too favorably.
I think I saw another 2 duos too in the surrounding areas who are hungry to join the party uninvited. Sato Pink. Ah, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one. They were doing so well. Let's hope that they can match the previous game without getting dropped into a box. As now, Izzy, 10 points, doesn't matter. All you need is the win.
Izzy and Lobeto have certainly not had a day that would, I think, instill that confidence of the consistency metric in the first place. They have just been doing everything to try and find that victory royale. Frigid Fortress has been a rather active point of contention for a lot of the teams on the northern side of the map. And it's probably going to continue to do so, depending on how some of these later zone pools draw out. But Izzy with a lurk from overhead. This might just be a great opportunity here to try and find that first elimination, but spot it out, so things are just going to be left out in the open here. Izzy's just going to choose to fall back to Lobeto.
With how net surge works and just this season's been playing out, it's a lot less common to see these even fights take place. You'll normally see these fights happen when one of the teams gets a big beam or even a big shotgun shot, anything to kind of give them the upper hand in the engagement. And Mix and Blaha apparently have the numbers.
Coming back, though, to where Wi-Fi and Borsuk had sort of left off. It looks like they really want to try and get aggressive now with Izzy and Lobeto. Hey, they might not have started it, but they'll be more than happy to try and see things through all the way here. Lobeto losing shields entirely now means that Borsuk and Wi-Fi, they just want to collapse on this one fully. Once the dust settles, only one duo should be left standing here. And right now, it's looking like it could be Wi-Fi and Borsuk, but no, Wi-Fi turned upon Lobeto just in the nick of time, managing to bail out his duo on Lobeto. He's not done just yet. Another one onto Borsuk, so they'll have the opportunity now to keep trying to trek through Game 5.
What a turnaround. Great way to kick it off in this last match. Unfortunately for Wi-Fi and his duo, that will be it, but Luevi waiting patiently has paid off. Quick elimination as Izzy now is forced to disengage.
And just when you think that something might be going your way, it's like 2 steps backwards, make it even 10 at this point, Takada, because Izzy, all that surge that they just established, now they're going to have to reevaluate how they actually want to move forward, because you've got to make a play for reboot. The one silver lining is that it is early enough for that to be a possibility, but there are just so many hawks waiting to come crashing down on anyone that they might scout out, coming through from deep inside of the storm. It's just tough.
It really is. It sucks, honestly. Hopefully we'll see them make a comeback, though. Seen a lot of south zones throughout the day. Looking a bit more north this time around as we do have a fight.
Good bending control right now, though. Trix and Zydon, that might just be exactly what they're interested in. They know it's gonna have